Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement presented by 3Chi and Barstool Sports. I am your host, Robbie Fox. Along with me is my co host, Clem, and we are here to talk about Chapter 4 of the Book of Boba Fett called The Gathering Storm. This episode sets up one hell of an ending to this series. We got episodes 5, 6, and 7 left, but the ending of this one left everybody talking. It left everybody, I think, a little more hopeful. Even the doubters of the Book of Boba Fett are like, all right. I like where this series is going. Clem, what did you think of chapter 4? How we doing?
I'm doing good, Bob. That title, The Gathering Storm, I was like, oh boy, we have something coming here. And I think we got a little taste of it. I wonder if it was always titled The Gathering Storm or if they knew the reaction, they read all the reactions they got from the slowest fucking chase in the history of cinema. They're like, all right, we have to start getting people hyped up for the end of this show. So they changed the name. But you know me, I see those titles and it makes me feel one way or another. I was very excited. I love how this has become a thing now. We're getting the baseball analogies. I'm getting them DM'd to me. I'm getting them tweeted me. All right, I think this one was a home run. I think this one was a double. My official rating, mine, and listen, everyone's different here. I'm going to say this episode, it was one of those things where it was a double, but he took a wide turnaround second, and you thought he was going to go 3, and he just couldn't do it, because I think there were enough parts of this episode, there were a couple parts that kind of made me cringe a little, and without that, I think you have a triple. But I'm kind of like Dave when it comes to pizza. I don't give away triples. Excuse me. Frank the Tank actually has this rating system when he eats hot dogs. I am not like Frank the Tank. I am much like Frank the Tank. I am a tough grader. So I'm a hard marker, as Mike Francesi used to say. So I have to say it's a double. It's a strong double because there were some fucking oh shit moments here, but there was also a couple things where I was like, and I think it's a little bit residual episode 3. And I do think The Gathering Storm, I think I'm holding this show to the standard I held it in before episode 1, not where I'm holding it after episode 3. And I do feel like it has changed the way we thought the show was going to be. But I do think the storm has gathered, and I think we're going to get lightning, we're going to get thunder, we're going to get fucking tornadoes and shit, maybe an earthquake. That's not even technically weather, I don't think. But it's all coming, Bob. The storm is gathered. How about you? What do you think?
I think that I texted Hank before, and I actually used our baseball analogies to kind of describe it to me, because Hank tweeted me. He said, I think Book of Boba Fett has been incredibly mid. And I said, I think we're just spoiled from The Mandalorian. I said, I think that was something where we never had seen Star Wars in a television format before. We got Baby Yoda. We got different environments, different characters every week. This show has been all on Tatooine. It's been with characters that we know, been with small characters. It's been slow building stories. There's been so much non-dialogue, even in every episode, where it's like, I can understand why maybe the people that aren't as crazy hardcore Star Wars fans out there wouldn't be as invested in this. But I said it was a hard hit single that he took a wide turn and looked for 2 and came back to first, because the double is still episode 2 for me. I didn't think this was like episode 2. That was awesome in my eyes. I think episode 1, 3, and 4 were all good singles, very good. And I think episode 2 was the best. I think I would put that up in the Mandalorian territory, right? But no episodes in this made me go like, oh, this is not good. I regret staying up till 3 in the morning. I'm staying up till 3 in the morning each and every week and really, really enjoying it. I think CM Punk is too. He might have just tweeted me. Did he? No, he didn't. But he tweeted back in my reply to Hank and he said, get the fuck out. And then he replied to that, all caps, get the fuck out. So I think he's like, are you kidding me? People are criticizing this. And I kind of agree. Like, come on, it's a Boba Fett show that we're getting every week. Like, how can you not just enjoy what we're getting?
Yeah, and I do think that the way The Mandalorian came out of nowhere when Star Wars, just think of where we were as Star Wars fans. I mean, different, opinions in terms of the way the
A
sequel
house
trilogy was
divided.
house divided, rock bottom. Basically, is being a Giants fan. It's like half the people are hoping for the best, the other half are like, "This is the worst shit I've ever seen in my life." And then finally, the Mandalorian is like these GM candidates that we're all getting. We're like, "Oh boy, here we go. We're getting something new," and it fucking hit. It delivered. Baby Yo was the biggest of hits of all time. And like the thing about Mandalorian though, it wasn't perfect. Like we're getting the same shit every week, which is again, that's the Western, spaghetti Western, whatever they call it. But this is different. And I do think we talked about this last night on the Lights Camera Barstool Twitter Spaces. The whole they're not going, it's non-linear and they're going flashbacks and then forward. I have to say, now that it looks like we've caught up on the flashbacks, as we'll get into in the recap of the episode, that didn't really land. It just felt like a lot. It felt like the Tusken Raiders changed them. The Tusken Raiders were there for like fucking like 6 scenes. That's it. And it's like if it was all in an episode or two, it would have felt, I think, a little heavier in my mind. But I do think that the fact we were jumping back and forth, going to stuff we even knew. We're going back to Jabba's palace, which we already know about. I do think it lacked. It kind of took away some of the weight that maybe it wouldn't have if it was done just linearly and we kind of like, all right, he's out of the Sarlacc and we're rocking and rolling from there. And I would have been fine with that because, again, the way I felt when Boba Fett sat on Jabba's fucking throne and Fennec Shand fucking took the little bottle open and she's draping herself on the fucking armrest, that was the oh shit moment at the end of last season after Luke, right? It's like, oh my God, Book of Boba Fett comes and we're just getting ready for this podcast that we've been doing. I hope these next 3 episodes bring us back to that excitement. And I think it's going to, but listen,
I think they will.
I'm also not a blind fanboy. We're going to be fair here. Game of Thrones is my favorite show ever. We ripped that thing to shreds starting in episode 1 of the final season. And we were told we were haters. So trust me, if this thing stinks to end it off, we're going to tell you it stinks. But I do think we're getting there. So just believe in Boba, man. I don't know what else to say. Believe in Boba.
Believe in Boba. So let's get into this episode. There's a lot to talk about. Might as well just dive right in. Yep. Before we do, remind everybody, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Went into the office. I think I have like 3 good piles together of the gifts, the giveaways. You could still email Clem at theclemreport@gmail.com. I'll say till next week will be the cutoff. And I'll tweet out a picture or video or something of like the gifts, the giveaways, and then we'll do a random generator. We'll figure it all out.
You have to send me a picture of you subscribed too, because I had a few people, which I mean, shit, I would have done it if it was the other shoe was on the other foot. But I'm like, all right. And everyone has been like over the top, like so nice. I love the basement dwellers are maybe my favorite group of fucking people in the world because they've been like, listen, I love the show. I've been listening since here, since there. I'm new, whatever. I love the way you guys crush it. And I'll tell you, you get some nice compliments as a Barstool, podcaster, blogger, whatever you may be. You also get some fucking mean shit said to you just out of nowhere by a guy who joined Twitter last month and has, 6 followers and just you go to his timeline, he just writes mean shit. You guys have kind of brought my spirits back up. I've had kids driving me crazy all day here. And then the basement people bring me back up. So you have to tweet me.
They're your flash bacta tank.
Yes, that's exactly it. I just sit in my little folder where I have all the emails from you guys. And I just fucking mainline it to my fucking mouth like Boba. And I just soak in them to just kind of get my spirits back up. So email theclemreport@gmail.com with a picture of you subscribed on YouTube and just send it to me, and then you'll just be entered in the contest. I automatically send it there. I was starting to write like thank yous to people at first, and we've just been flooded. It's hundreds of fucking people. So again, that little boost plus just all the kind words you guys have had is definitely my fucking flashback to tank. So shout out to you guys for everything.
And speaking of the flashback to tank, that is where we are starting things off today.
Did you laugh when you saw it right off the bat? I just
yeah. Yeah, you have to. You have to. So we go back in the flashback to Tank. He's hanging with a Bantha. He's hanging with, his only friend at this point. He's the only one to survive the ambush. And he investigates the scene at Jabba's palace a little bit. He's scoping things out, and he says, there's too many guards right now for us to do it. We can't do it, old friend. The Bantha is very practical. It's got the tongue, like, slurping the food and stuff. He throws an entire rodent or whatever that was into the mouth. The Bantha had me cracking up. It almost reminded me of, like, a Muppet or something.
I'm telling you, Bob, I went into this series after the first episode or so being like, this is going to make us love the Tusken Raiders. It started in Mando season 2 where we get to kind of know more about them. Turns out, I think Banthas were the biggest winner so far of this season. They're fucking awesome. And they've always just been the fucking giant carpets that you just walk through the desert. Those motherfuckers are loyal. They're smooth. It's like a smooth ride. Like, you can't get a ride that smooth on sand. Just fucking sooner or later, you think they'd just be getting tired. I'm sure camels, they're a little like janky and stuff when you ride them. Fucking Banthas, those things, you think you're riding like a fucking, I don't even know, like a Rolls Royce. I don't even know what like a good car is. And they have personalities. I had no idea they had these personalities about them. So they probably smell awful, but I fucking love them. And like, I will never laugh at the fucking phrase Bantha Poodoo again, because I used to love saying that. But now I feel like that's an insult to my fucking favorite little creatures. I guess those are mammals, right? Like, even though it's in a galaxy far, far away, I feel like they fit the mammal like description. So I think those are my favorite current mammals right now. I didn't think I'd get a new favorite mammal. My previous favorite mammal, panda bear. I bet you didn't know that, Bob.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, yeah, they're going extinct. You're going to need a new one. No
Hey,
offense
what
to the
the fuck was
pandas.
that,
Sorry.
Bob? What the hell was that? What's your favorite mammal? I hope your favorite mammal's about to die.
Dog, come on.
That was messed up. All right, I take it back. I take
Sparky,
it back.
R.I.P. Sparky.
R.I.P. Sparky. I'm on the sus list. God damn it.
No, dog, monkey. I like a good monkey. Are penguins mammals?
Don't you dare cut that out of this podcast. They're fucking birds, Bob. A penguin. Is penguin a mammal?
That's a fair question. Come on, they're big.
AJ,
No birds are mammals.
AJ yelled at me because I told him tigers aren't hatched out of eggs, and now I'm starting to think you and AJ have a similar like grasp of the animal kingdom right now. It's a bird.
Yeah. All right, fair. I looked it up. It's a bird. Google
They
says
have
it's a bird.
eggs. They hatch
Yeah.
out of eggs.
True. Oh, that's what the mammal is. That's what the definition is, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, live births is a big part, yeah. And I don't know,
Yeah.
like in terms of fur or hair, I don't know how that all works, but yeah, long story
I love
short.
penguins. I just kind of wanted them to be a mammal like us. We're like,
I feel
love
like you might have
penguins.
gone
We're all in on the
penguins.
same thing.
It's hard to argue with that. I feel like you might have gone penguins and dolphins kind of mixed up because dolphins are mammals.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saving you, Bob. I'm throwing you a
There's
life
one,
preserve.
yeah, there's one aquatic animal that was a mammal I knew. But he sees while he's scoping out Jabba's palace some flares in the sky. And if you remember back to the Mandalorian, you go, oh, I know what this is. This is Mando and Bobby Cannavale's son flanking, or I guess not flanking, but going up against Fennec Shandon. They're sending the flares up so she can't see through her scope. And he goes over there to investigate, and she has been left for dead already. So he brings her into a mod shop in Tatooine. This is like a mix between a tattoo parlor and a car mechanic, basically. The mod artist is played by a guy named Thundercat, who's a bass player. He played on some Mac Miller songs. What's the Use? Shout out Mac Miller. It was his birthday this week. Great bass player. He's going to be opening up for the Red Hot Chili Peppers on tour this summer. So check out Thundercat if you've never heard him before. This scene is probably the most controversial out of this episode. The most street gang, if you want to put it in last week's terms. For good reason, I think it was a bit weird the way they edited it, and I assume Thundercat had a hand in the music too. It was maybe cool for like a mid 2000s DVD screen, but the music didn't fit for me in this scene. It wasn't super Star Warsy, you know. Not to complain, not to be the complainer.
I got very concerned when this scene came up this early in the show because again, we don't know how the rest of the show is going to play out. I'm like, oh no, we're going down like this again. The Star Wars fan of me, I get worried whenever the first sight of danger. I'm like, oh fuck, everything's about to fall apart now. All the momentum Mando built is about to get fucking steampunked away. That, and I think people were saying that I think that might have been Thundercat's music that was playing in the background.
I think so. I assume he had a hand in it, which makes me feel bad about saying like, oh, it's not my favorite thing because I love Thundercat, but it didn't feel like it fit.
My note was weirdest song for a medical montage ever. And listen, as an old guy, I don't know who Thundercat is. Thundercat will always be Lion-O, and that's why I have a sword in my garage. Shout out Sam Lauderdale. But it's like Panthro, fucking Chitara, not some bassist. That was the weirdest fucking montage. And you add that in with like, if you're just going like 2 of the last 3 scenes we watch in the show is the awful goddamn chase, and then that. Thank God for that fucking Bantha, or else we'd be on a real losing streak right now. But the whole it's Fennec Shand, a person that got her guts fucking shot out, or is she a fucking Ford Taurus in an 80s movie? Because the sparks were flying, and I'm like, I felt like I was watching like an old Chop Shop. What was the name of that movie? Adventures in Babysitting, like the garage where she meets Thor and all that kind of stuff. That is anyone who's seen that movie, God bless you. That's definitely dating myself. It's a great movie though, big time fan. But yeah, that was a really tough look. However, the other side of that was when I saw the firework at first. My dumb brain, I always get excited again. Cross pollination between different movies or shows. At first, I was like, "Oh wait, is this after the Empire had fallen?" Because I always loved that whole thing, and Mando, how everyone celebrated, but the timelines wouldn't match up. But then you got that fucking Mando, and I was like, "Yes, let's go!" So I didn't get the movie. I almost got something better though, because we're starting to dip into the Mando timeline. So that got me really excited. So as bad and as awful, which we could not stress enough how bad that scene was. That little Mando fucking sound effect, I think it got everyone's the hairs on the back of their necks to stand up.
And you know what did that for me was they had the actual shot of him walking up on Fennec's body. That was the teaser in Mando season
Yes.
1. As he's like going towards her, I'm like, oh my God, cut to that shot, cut to that exact shot. That would be awesome if they did it. And then they did it. I was like, fuck yeah, they fucking did it.
Was
So I
that the
thought that
one
was
with the
cool.
Spurs where we heard the
Yeah.
Spurs and they broke
Yeah.
down the fucking sound effects? Star Wars fans are the best, you crazy
They cut to
motherfuckers.
the exact one. So I thought that was cool. So Fennec wakes up. She's confused. They're around a fire, and Boba explains what happened. He tells her who he is. She doesn't believe him at first. She's like, no, Boba Fett's dead. He's like, nope, I was left for dead just like you. So they have that in common with each other. And he tells her about the Tuscans, how they took him in. He does a little revisionist history on the Tuscans. He makes them out to be a little bit nicer than they were. They took him in as a slave, right? He's like, they took me and they treated me as one of
One
their
of my
own right
own,
away.
their own.
Yeah, after you slayed a beast for them, after you, I mean, you were a slave for them. And he tells her about the street bikers that killed his Tuscan family, and he says, "I want my ship." And this is another controversial moment of this episode. He calls it the Fire Spray Gunship. Now, this is what the actual ship name of the Slave One is. The Slave One is the nickname that he gave it, but it's such a weird thing because so many people are outraged that they didn't call it the Slave One. And like I can't imagine getting outraged, but at the same on the flip side, to play devil's advocate, who was mad at this? Was anyone mad at the ship being called the Slave One, or it felt like Disney making much ado about nothing?
It does feel like that. And again, we said this in, I believe, episode 1 when I saw it said Boba's Starship in Fortnite instead of the Slave One. I said, "Oh, are we?" And you're gonna have. I'm sure the word. If I'm gonna go on Twitter and just put Boba and woke, there's gonna be 1,000 fucking angry
Yeah.
tweets
Oh
about it.
yeah.
I already mourned the name because I thought it was a cool ass name. It's a cool ass ship. It's a cool ass fucking character. I think it all plays together. I can't get mad about it anymore, but I do understand. Like I was kind of bummed that it was gone, but I can't get angry about it anymore. There's too much shit to get angry. There's M&Ms. People are mad about the M&Ms changing their look, so I just can't get mad about enough stuff. I tried to put my kids to nap for 2 hours straight, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs at them. I don't have enough energy to get mad about Boba's ship changing again, but I do agree. Like it is kind of weird. I will say, it's fire.
It's a Fire Spray Gunship, which like all
Fire.
right.
That's a cool name. It is a
Yeah.
cool name. It had
And
a
it
cooler
makes
name.
sense that like all right, that's the actual ship name. It would make sense for him to say that to Fennec in that moment. He wouldn't say I have to go get the Slave One. She'd be like, what the fuck is that? Your slave? Do you have slaves? Like she would be probably confused. So in that moment, it made sense for him to call it that, I guess.
Bob Fox, I mean, you're a Washington football team fan. You better be called it like
Yeah.
the Fire Spray Starship. And it's like he has to say it.
The Washington Fire Spray Gunships, that would be sick. Come on.
Is that metal? Is that confirmed
That's
metal? By Bob
metal.
Fox?
That would be fucking if we had the Boba ship as the logo too. Come on, that would be awesome.
I just need to go full fucking like they have to clean it all out here, and he has to call it the Fire Spray Starship every single time. So it's like the full mouthful with Washington football team. But by like next season, you're just gonna like call it that. Like the Washington football team was preposterous for a full year, and then it came like fucking that was just their name. So it's I'm fine with it, but I was just, and that's the other thing too. I love how the Slave One always had the one next to it. Like it wasn't the 2, it wasn't 3, it was the 1. I was like, oh, that's fucking sweet. So I mourned it, and it fucked shit up in this episode. So I have I don't know what it is, a theory or whatever. So I saw Fennec Shan. She's recovering. She just had her guts like fucking replaced by metal, fucking sparks flying everywhere in a ridiculous scene, right? And I swear to God, this isn't a bonk statement, but I just was like, man, Fennec Shan, like she looks like she doesn't look unhealthy. She looked like really healthy. And I was like, how does she look healthy? And I have decided in my mind canon that Boba Fett was doing her makeup as she was recovering. Like just weird as Boba, and he's like has some blush in his pocket. And he's like, oh, here
Something
you go, Fennec.
I picked up in the Tuscan camp.
Exactly. So it's like it's just on the line of weird and kind, is you don't know which way Boba falls.
He's
in
like,
that line.
oh, thank you. That's enough.
The girl that you are holding in a coma right now, you were making her up. It's a little bit Buffalo Bill, but it's also like, you know, like a really good nurse. So I always thought that was good. And this was the thing that saved the the Ford Taurus scene with Fennec Taurus, basically, with her fucking guts shooting out the sparks when he says, "I am Boba Fett." And that's what we need from here on out. I need to see Boba Fett. I need to see the guy that I fucking came for. Boba put the fucking fannies in the seats. I paid my money. I paid good money for this ticket to go watch Boba Fett do Boba Fett things. And I'm seeing a whole lot of Talura or whatever the fuck the actor's name is here. I want to see legitimately Boba Fett. I want to see the helmet. I want to see the stupid rocket that doesn't really make sense when you're in a fight. I want to see the fucking armor, which I mean, obviously we're going to get to and all that kind of stuff. But like, I am Boba Fett. He said that. I said, all right, now show me that you're Boba Fett.
Yeah, he even acknowledges, she's like, why don't you just go in and ask for the ship? And he acknowledges in this moment, he goes, I'm a lot less persuasive without my armor. And it's like, Boba, where did that mindset go when you took the fucking throne? Put the armor back on. Put the helmet back on. That's what we were saying last week.
You fucking murdered the fuck out of the train. You put a whole train heist without the fucking armor. You can do it, man. But I mean, hey, I get it too. Like, Bob Fox always had a little extra oomph to him when he had those little gloves on and was challenging people to the octagon there. So I do understand it.
I had to put him up because I hung out with the Tuscans, did some lizard drugs, and Tuscans might have just meant like Roan and Coley.
And I don't exactly. I don't know if this was actually said in the episode, but again, on the Twitter Spaces last night, Jeff D'Lo said, I think people saying it was like 5 years since the Tuscan Raiders since he had done it.
Yeah, because it's 5 years since Mando. So that was another thing about the flashbacks, kind of what you were saying, them not landing. I like the story they told with him joining the Tuscans and him leaving bounty hunting behind, discovering he needs a tribe. But like, you could have done that in probably 2 episodes. And also, you could have done a better job of showing us that was like 5 years that he spent with him. It felt like he met up with him and they got killed like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They got killed almost immediately, and we didn't get to see. And so that part I thought was weird. But the 5 years later, that is a fucking gap, man. Like, I remember in Endgame when the 5 years later screen comes on, people gasped, Bob.
Yeah.
Multiple, like 20 people gasped at a movie. And it was fucking, we had just, spoiler alert, just seen the fucking most badass villain in the world get his head chopped off, a couple minutes earlier. So I just thought that all was weird. But however, I think we're all going to enjoy the rest of this episode moving forward, starting here, right?
Oh, absolutely. The rest of this episode is pretty fucking awesome. So they're scouting out Jabba's place at night. Boba sets his Bantha free. He says a very funny line. He's like, "Go, be free, make Bantha babies." Which I saw someone tweet, I want Star Wars to have a post-credit scene where we see the Bantha making the Bantha babies. That was funny.
Oh, and Jesus Christ.
Fennec sends out a little ball droid. It's kind of like Darth Maul's ball droid, or even the ones that were sent to Hoth, but super tiny, the size of a fucking ping pong ball, a baseball maybe, and it scopes the whole place out. Boba tells her he's leaving bounty hunting behind, and they breach the sewers. So she cuts the sewers open. They fight a chef droid and a sous chef droid that were very funny. And they said, "Oh, you got to go inform the rat catcher." And the rat catcher, it's like, "Oh, fuck, who's the rat catcher? Who's this big bad guy?" And it's this tiny little lep droid who we've seen in the Clone Wars before, I think. And the way that thing runs around is like Ratatouille or something. It was like watching them like try to catch a rat. He grabs it finally, and it decides to turn itself off in front of him, kind of like in a dark way, like kill itself. And it was very funny how they played it. I loved this little droid. Did you?
I liked it. It felt Ewok-y, but I mean that's a side of Star Wars.
So that makes sense. I got the Ewoks on my shirt here. Boom.
I enjoyed the guy too. He almost seemed like real. Like he was a real feeling droid, right? Where a lot of these droids feel clunky and like very fake. He felt real. He felt like
and one of the droids that was, I think it was the sous chef. I don't think it was the main. It wasn't the one with all the arms. It was the sous chef one. Was in Return of the Jedi. It was like one of the people that I think was like giving 3PO something to do or torturing them or something like that. But he was a familiar looking droid.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that one, I saw in one of the videos, might have been at the cantina now or something. But yeah, very similar droid. I need that chopper droid, dude. I am no Sean Moreno. You know the crying gif where it just like tears down his eyes? That's what I become instantly. Full tear meltdown every time. That was some General Grievous feelings too. And honestly, they're
Big
about
time.
the same in my mind. I am anti-General Grievous because he was supposed to be this badass dude. He has all his lightsabers, which is cool, but he does the same shit a Chopper he does the same thing a Chef Chopper does. That's kind of a tough look for Grievous here. And I know the prequel fans are going to get mad at me, but
I know, I like
my
Grievous.
opinion.
I think Grievous is badass. I remember when they did the Burger King toys that summer for Revenge of the Sith, he was one of the hardest ones to get. And when you got Grievous, it was the wind-up one, and then it would do that thing with the hands like that. Oh my God, it was like the best day ever when I got Grievous.
Is he in Clone Wars? He has to be big in Clone Wars, right?
Yeah. There's some cool Grievous episodes in Clone Wars, yeah.
You have to think of this as, the guy who has only seen him in episode 2, which was a tough one to get through.
Episode 3, I'm
sorry. He's a guy who has
the best of the prequels.
Yes, for sure. Who has asthma. He's like an asthmatic.
Looks like he's got COVID at this point.
Yeah, at this point he has COVID.
Everyone around him should have been wearing the masks.
General COVID. Yeah, that's exactly what he is. And he does the cool thing with it, and then he kind of just like loses like everyone else loses. So that's just I don't want to get on the Grievous tangent though. I apologize. Also, as a fat guy, shock Jabba doesn't have a fucking like a huge deep fryer in his kitchen. Like
we probably didn't see it. It's probably got a separate room for that.
Yeah.
And Boba walked in. He's like, "Why do we need get this out of here? We don't need this."
If you're above like 250 pounds at some point in your life, and even if you're at 250 pounds, if you saw the movie, everyone dreamed of the Richie Rich having a McDonald's in their house, right? When they were a kid. If you have a palace, and Jabba has a palace, he would have had whatever the Tatooine version of McDonald's is in there, and there would be a giant deep fryer.
It's probably McDonald's. It's probably just McDonald's. I think the Golden Arches go that far.
It does. It reaches there, exactly.
So they get the Slave One from the hangar. Really cool scene where you first see it. Like the score really builds to like this big moment. And there's even one of the like skitters that was in the Jabba sail barge like scene right next to it when he escapes. Like he kind of blows it up. I thought that was really cool to see that. And the hangar. This hangar is actually like from the video games, from Battlefront, from all that. Like this has never been in live action, but it's always been canon as part of Jabba's palace. So I thought it was cool. There was great CG I wrote. And when he gets out of there, they escape with the Slave One. He's like, "All right, Fennec, your debt is paid. Where do you want me to drop you?" And she's like, "Where are you going? Like, I don't really have anywhere to go. I'll stay for the ride." And he's like, "All right, I got some fucking scores to settle." And this badass scene, we see the Kintan riders, and right away you just know what's coming. And it's almost like the Alfred Hitchcock, like when the plane comes in on the guy, you just see like real tiny, starts to get bigger. It's the Slave One, and he decimates these motherfuckers, like absolutely just blows them all up. No remorse. He just shares this look with Fennec, like, yeah, those motherfuckers. And she approves. She's like, "Fuck yeah, good for you, Boba."
That was the Boba Fett I've been waiting for. That is the fucking guy. And he had his helmet on. I'm telling you, he's a different. Did he have the helmet on?
No.
I don't think so. God damn it. But anyway, that's the Boba Fett I was looking for. That's the guy I fucking paid my fucking attention to and got hyped for the entire year waiting for this show. And I thought it felt like when Khaleesi comes with the dragon and you just see all the people running away from her in, whatever part of Westeros they were in. This was, when they're in Westeros season 7 or whatever. And they just annihilates everybody.
Annihilate.
Awesome.
Just they're dust at this point. Yeah.
And you saw you see like their logos and it's the Speeder Gang. So you're just like, oh, those guys had it coming. And I'm like, all right, Boba has scores to settle and he's settling scores. And the craziest thing of all is for the first time, I think in Star Wars history, we had a starship that had been laying dormant for a while, start up without a problem. What an upset. That thing just sitting in the desert in some
He was like a little rusty. He said a little rusty, but other than that, I think it's doing fine.
Every single time they try to start up a starship that has, and I don't know what kind of fucking energy they use in a galaxy far, far away. It never works the first time. The fact that the artist the starship formerly known as the Slave One started up right off the bat. I bet the fucking hyperdrive works. Let's get fucking Hot Bob Fox. Whoever built that ship knew what they were doing.
I think Bib Fortuna was probably taking it for joyrides. Like he was keeping it warm for him, not unknowingly. He was just like flying around feeling like a badass.
In case that's the kind like Boba's name rings out in the streets where even though he just got aped by the Sarlacc, he do the whole like, I'm doing you a solid, I'll start your car up every few months and drive it around for a little while. Oh, how good it'd be if like the Gamorrean guards were the guys who did it too. Like they were cool.
Well, I think we saw them, right? Like we saw Gamorrean guards fight Fennec in the whole battle. I assumed those are the same Gamorrean guards.
And the only reason I don't want them to be our Bash brothers is because they get washed just like. But that's what Gamorrean guards do. They're basically like they're foot soldiers. They just get
Yeah.
killed every. They're henchmen. That's all they are. We love them. They're loyal to a T. But that hurt. That hurt because Mark and Jose, they got their asses kicked. They're loyal. They came back to them sooner or later.
They flashed back to that when Boba let him use the flashback tank last week. They
Yes.
flashed back to getting their ass kicked. They were like, fuck, we almost got that slave one back.
In the My Mom's Basement canon, Boba's tank, if you go in the back of the tank, you have flashback every single time.
Yeah.
If like
Well, it's like taking a melatonin. You get crazy dreams. It's like you go in the flashback to tank and you get flashbacks.
I'm thinking, if you went in a flashback to tank right now, what's the first thing you would think of that you would dream of? Not that you want to, but just what came in your mind right now. We're going Ghostbuster style.
Like going to school and like the teacher puts a test on my desk that I forgot about. I didn't study for it. And I'm like, oh my God, no. How did I not study for like, something like for me, I have so many like school dreams still. Oh my God, I forgot to do my homework, like shit like that. Oh, I hate them.
Bob, I got bad news. I'm like twice your age. I still have those dreams. I have the dream that stays with me is I go to my locker and I don't know the combination to it. Yeah. And I'm sure there are some deep-seated issues about why I have that specific dream. Like I know they say if like you lose your teeth in a dream, you're worried about health, and there's all these different things. Whatever the locker one is, it's probably like you should have probably been in school longer. You probably have a better career than being a smut blogger for a living. But I'm with you, Bob. My first thing was though, and I think it's because you were talking about like hangers and stuff. I thought playing Nintendo 64, playing little Shadows of the Empire, maybe some GoldenEye and stuff like that. Oh, some good fucking.
Oh, it could have been a good memory, I guess. I just went right to like one that I would have been like, oh, nightmare. Yeah.
Boba keeps. Wow, we didn't get the his childhood dream again. So that might, you think that's done? Because they did say.
I think it is done. Yeah.
They said you're at 100%. They said you're at 100%.
Fully healed. Healing complete. Yeah. So unless he's just doing that for leisure, and they're like, Boba, you got an addiction to this thing. You got a problem, man. Like in the final 3 episodes, they sit him down, send him to Star Wars rehab. I don't think that's how it's going to go down.
Boba, if you want to fucking feel that feeling, just have some 3 Chi. Just have some 3 Chi. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, have some 3 Chi. So he goes searching for his armor. He doesn't remember the Jawas stealing it, which is understandable considering how that whole thing went down. And he goes back to the Sarlacc. So we see the sail barge destroyed again. You must have liked that. And the Sarlacc winds up being alive. We see like a real close-up of it. They put the lights on. We see all the teeth surrounding it. And then the fucking thing attacks. It's like a jump scare. And the way they wind up defeating it, finally killing the Sarlacc, it's the most badass way that their Slave One possibly could. The artist formerly known as the Slave One possibly could. Fennec Shand flips a switch. They drop a seismic charge in that bitch's mouth. Awesome. We hear the noise. We see the sand ripple. I mean, that's what we wanted.
That was a Bob Fox request going into the season, right? Yeah. You were saying I was hoping for a seismic charge, so I was very happy for you when I saw that.
It was a big one too, right? Like it wasn't just like, oh, we're taking out a TIE fighter. Like we took out the Sarlacc, and I like that in the beginning of the season. We were like, is it dead? Did he kill it? Yeah, I guess so. Like we didn't know. So going into this, you were like, oh yeah, it's probably dead. And then it jumps up on you. Did you feel like, you said initially you didn't feel like it was scary enough. Did you feel like this episode they made it scarier?
Yes, definitely. And the jump scare was very well done. I also didn't think he was. I don't really think we're visiting a Sarlacc pit all that often without some sort of Sarlacc coming out our asses, even if it's like the son of the Sarlacc coming out of the fucking blue. But I loved it. What did she say? Fire in the hole when she let it go? That was cool. And that's how you know, like when a fucking like badass bounty hunter is like fire in the hole, she's about to fuck shit up.
And when it blew up and even the like sail barge like started sinking a little bit because all of the sand rippled around it. It was fucking cool.
Yep. And someone said this last night on the space. It might have been Jeff. I don't remember. But they said it almost felt like the way Boba had the ship right on its ass and was just firing down. It's what you do when you're playing like a Star Wars video game. And you're like, I'm just going to kill that fucking asshole Sarlacc. And anyone that would watch is like, that would never happen in the movie. They would shoot it from afar. He wouldn't just be, but it's like he was as pressed against it as he could. And he just lit that bitch up. And again, I am a big fan of settling scores in like, and especially watching it. I think Lucky Number 11 is my most underrated movie. It's one of my favorite movies. And every time you see what happens, we won't spoil it. Go watch Lucky Number 11 if you've never seen it yet. It's an all-time great revenge movie. So I loved seeing Boba settle the scores. Mwah,
That's one
fantastic.
that Mike, my older brother, made me watch. That was part of his DVD collection growing up. So I've seen Lucky Number 11. By the way, speaking of revenge movies, The Equalizer 3 got confirmed between the last episode and this episode. Anyone that knows me knows I love the Equalizer movies with Denzel Washington. The Threequalizer is going to be unbelievable. I guarantee it. Those are some of the best revenge movies out there. They're ridiculous. They're over the top. The scores are phenomenal, though. Denzel is amazing in that role. Oh my God, he's so fucking good. All right, where are we up to? Boba goes into the Sarlacc searching for the armor. He finds nothing. He comes out all gooey. I was surprised he just went in the way he did after it like burned his skin. It just burned his skin even more. Like he needs a ton of aloe. I guess the bacta tank is basically a big thing of aloe, but he found no armor as we expected him to. And then they share a meal that night. Boba talks about his ambitions to become the head of a family, the daimyo, basically. And he offers Fennec a spot beside him. He's like, listen, I'll offer you something none of your previous employers can offer you. I will cut you in. I will dedicate my life to defending yours as long as you do the same for me. Like, let's start something from the ground up. He basically wants to start a startup with her. And she has a great, this is a great exchange, one of the best exchanges of the episode, where she says, the Tuscans have made you soft. And he says, nope, the Tuscans, something to the effect of, nope, the Tuscans have made me realize you can't go very far without a tribe. So that's like the whole, that encapsulates the entire Tuscan character development that Boba needed right there. He flashes back to Bib Fortuna's death that we saw at the end of Mandalorian, where he kills him, he takes the throne, and then he wakes up. The droid informs him, you're completely healed, which would lead us to believe the flashbacks are done. And I think they should be done at this point. I think it would help the show if we just move on with the war, because the story of the war is so interesting. And maybe I thought this episode was really good. I thought it was a big improvement over last week, but I definitely worried for, the first half hour. I was like, is this a flashback episode? Are we not going back to the main story? I was a little bit worried. So I think it's good that we're now on to the present day.
Yeah, who is it? Topher Grace, who redid the Star Wars and they recut the prequels as a movie.
Yeah, it's Topher Grace.
Maybe he could like recut Boba to just having everything in order, in chronological order. It'll
Someone probably will, yeah.
The Tuscan thing makes a lot more sense if it's just done in order. We won't bitch about that. But I love when the droid is like, "You're 100% healed," and you ever hear this? He's 90% questionable, probable on like and stuff like that. I just love that we actually they have the technology out there to fucking say that about it. And Fennec, she's the one who says you need a bacta tank. So I'm like, it's your fault. We had to live with these fucking flashbacks all this time, and I am just shocked that we're not going to get that Camino payoff. If maybe we'll have something in like a post-credit scene or something. God, if he starts having flashbacks in his bed, I'm going to fucking lose it. Like, once you leave the tank, you can't have any more flashbacks. That's the fucking rule. We named fucking the flashback the tank.
She says that the mayor's major domo is singing like a yuzum, but there's no sign of the mayor. She suggests that he show face around town, kind of walk around, remind people who's the daimyo in this territory. The yuzum, for those that don't know, is the big singing creature that has like the giant mouth from Jabba's palace. 1, 2, 3, 4! Exactly. So
I love that guy too.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So that was a nice little it was like subtle the way they slipped it in there, and it worked. So I was like, all right, singing like a yuzum. I like that.
That was
I like
Jedi,
that
right?
the mayor's made. Yeah, it was Return of the Jedi. Also, the best description for this series so far was what I saw on Twitter, where someone said it's Return of the Jedi DLC. So far, that's exactly what it felt like. Like, it's such a good way to put it.
That's a great call, man. Whoever said that, fucking tip of the cap. That's exactly what this is. And it's like, well, I got the Boba Fett skin and I have the Fennec skin now, so I can use that whenever I want. And, the story's been up and down. Fucking Tusken Raiders.
Hey, and speaking of DLC, I saw the trailer for the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga game today, and I saw people saying that there's rumored DLC for The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. Holy shit. This might be the greatest game of all time. The trailer looks outrageously good. Like, all 9 movies, crazy amount of planets, crazy amount of characters, crazy amount of things to do. I think it's going to bring me right back to those original Lego Star Wars days,
I thought it was already out, the Skywalker Saga Lego game, so...
No, not until April 5th. It's fucking great. Kept getting delayed.
Day before AJ's birthday. That's almost a sign. I almost have to get it for him and get him introduced to Star Wars, because he has no idea what the hell's going on. Sienna was knee deep in fucking Darth Vader she was even scared of him by 4 years old. AJ has no idea who Darth Vader even is.
So after Fennec suggests that Boba take a walk around town, show face, he goes to the sanctuary, and we see Black Krrsantan sitting there. I assume he's getting drunk because we didn't see what was in his drink. It was like a white liquid. I assume it's probably like a vodka because he was getting angry for no reason in particular. He sees a couple Trandoshans. They're winning. They're gambling. They're doing a good job, probably on the Barstool Sportsbook, and he just gets angry at him. He goes, he attacks him. Now, Trandoshans were the species that enslaved some Wookiees, and including like friends of his, I believe. And he baited the Trandoshans into coming to Kashyyyk to get him. He killed a bunch of them. So he doesn't like Trandoshans to begin with. He saw them having a good time, basically snapped at him. Garsa Fwit comes out of nowhere. She tries to calm the situation down, and she calls him Santo during this. It's his nickname from the comics. It's a great nickname for him. I'm glad that we got that in live action. And he doesn't care. He disarms the guy. This is what we wanted to see from him as well. Last week we said we were told Wookiees rip arms off. Well, apparently Wookiees do rip arms off. She's like, it was worth a fucking shot. I think Boba even says that to her. Boba's reaction to the whole thing was funny. He's like, I'm not getting involved in this shit. This is not worth my time. And she says, hit it, Max. And we get our little Max Rebo for the episode too. So I thought this was cool. He offers Black K a job. It was a good use of Black Krrsantan in this episode.
It's Big K. Don't you call him Black Hair? You got your fucking mind right now, Bob Fox. You're crazy.
That's
man.
what his nickname is in the comics.
Oh, it is? Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I call him Big K. Last out of the space, someone's like, I don't know his name. I'm listen, I don't know his name either. I can't even say the Emperor's name. Just call him Big K. Any special K, with anything with a K in it, you're
Special
fucking
K
good.
is good.
So I guess
my
Black
favorite
K,
Harlem Globetrotter, yeah.
Black K does work as well. And that was the Big K I was promised. Just like the Boba Fett I was promised, where he's mowing motherfuckers down. This guy, he's pissed off. He gives me the arm that I was promised as well, rips it off. Little Star Wars fucking nostalgia too, because appendages are always flying in a galaxy far, far away. It just felt fucking good. I thought, and the way they teased it, I thought it was kind of like the Avengers Assemble, where like next episode, maybe we're going to have an arm ripped off, the episode, and then finally in the finale. Nope, he ripped it off this episode, which I was very happy about. I don't know if it was because of the gambling debt, because she's like, I'll wipe off your bar bill and your fucking gambling debts. And he was like, fuck that. I'm going to I'll take my fucking money in fucking flesh. And he just ripped the dude's arm off. I absolutely loved it. And I will go to my grave convinced that Big K, when you first meet him, and like you said, he's drinking, he has the brass knuckles, and they're all electric. I will go to my grave convinced that is the booth from Scarface when Tony first dances with Michelle Pfeiffer and the whole little gang is in the corner. I was convinced that was the booth he was in. So that was my little 2 cents, little deep cut of the episode. But I even when the bodies are flying, Boba just comes in and is like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" Like
he's used to it. He's probably seen stuff like that at Jabba's palace for years. I thought you were gonna say you were convinced Big K used the little knuckle dusters as like a hey, grab this piece of bubble gum and it's an electric zap. Like he's like, hey, fist bump, and it's like, zzz, and he's like, I got you again, motherfucker. The scar above his eye, by the way, did you notice that? That was given to him by one Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was very present in this episode, which makes you think, is he going to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi? They're going to show us how he got that in live action. It would be cool to intertwine the entire Star Wars Disney Plus universe together in that way. Hopefully we get that first Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer on the Super Bowl. I think that would probably be the best way to put it out there. I said you could get everyone. I said on Twitter, get every single person, their mother, their grandmother invested in that show if you end it with Darth Vader. Everyone knows Darth Vader. He's going to be in that show. We're going to see him for the first time since Rogue One. I mean, how could you not?
There'll be pops, right? And the Super Bowl party, all the nerds.
Breath. That's all you need. You don't even need to show us any footage. Darth Vader's breath. We're like, oh my God, fucking Vader's back. We're in immediately.
They start the trail, the Obi-Wan, and we see McGregor or whatever. The nerds are in. By the end, Vader's breathing. Everyone's in. That whole room is fucking invested. It doesn't even matter what happens in the game of the rest of the way. So do the right thing, Disney. Filoni, listen to Feige. Feige would have that shit done right. Yeah. Do the right thing.
All right. So Boba at this point invites all of the crime bosses in Tatooine and Mos Espa to dinner. They host a dinner. And if you want to host a dinner like this, you go to HelloFresh because we've got a new promo code, Clem. Last time, remember you told me, hey, you've got the Robbie 14. I'm going to one-up you. I'm going to get Clem 15. I said, no, I'm not going to let that happen. I went to HelloFresh. I said, how about I get 16 Robbie? So now we got 16 free meals. I said, I can't let that happen. America's #1 meal kit. This stuff is the best in the business. It's 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal of the same quality. And you can save on average over $65 per month when you order HelloFresh instead of grocery shopping. $65 a month. That'll buy you the Skywalker Saga right there. That's boom. That'll buy you one Skywalker Saga a month. So go to HelloFresh.com/16Robbie. Use the promo code 16Robbie. You'll get 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. 16 free meals is even more than you need to do this dinner. They probably had 8, 10 people at that dinner. You do that. You can even feed the assistants, even feed your assistants. Have a meal for Black K afterwards. Yeah, 3 free gifts. I don't even know what the gifts are. Could be a Rancor.
I was going to say, is it a little baby Rancor and a trainer
to
go
wheel
up?
They may wheel up a Rancor. I hope you have room in your garage. It may be a Rancor.
I can't believe I got promo code cucked. I was going to go 15 and you just bumped me up on 16. That's why 16. You're fucking in the host chair,
go to HelloFresh. 16 Robbie. Use the promo code 16 Robbie. It's the new best deal in the galaxy. They are America's #1 meal kit for a reason. Go now. He is inviting all these people to dinner though to ask them for help. He's like, we're going to war with the Pikes. Can we count on you to be part of our team, basically? And the Trandoshans think about it, and the Aqualish think about it, and they're like, no, this doesn't really affect us. They only claimed territory to your spot, so we're going to stay out of this. And he's like, all right, then I'll ask you to remain neutral. Can you at least, if they come to you, don't betray me? And they say, all right, we abide. They all go around the table. They say, we abide. We agree with you. I think they look very sus as they're doing it. I think even Boba and Fennec agree with that because they go up to the top and they're like, what'd you think about that? And they're like, I think they're going to do whatever's in their own self-interest. He's like, if they make a better deal, I'd be surprised, but they'll do whatever helps them. And Fennec says, all right, like, do you have credits? And he's like, yeah, I have credits, but we don't need money right now. We just need muscle. And she says, if you have credits, I know where to look. And we get the music to The Mandalorian. End credits. I think next week we're going to hire Din Djarin to help alongside in this war. Maybe some others as well. This is round and second, round and first, whatever you want to say. This is setting up something big for the next hitter.
Yeah, this is it. Fucking cleanup guys coming to the plate. Whoever the cleanup guy on your respective team, Pete Alonso, Aaron Judge, big motherfucker. We want a bomb now. We're hoping for a bomb.
Mando coming in with the fucking dark saber. Is he bringing the dark saber and slaying motherfuckers up with the dark saber? Are you kidding me?
And that's
if he does that, I don't want to hear one complaint about the Scooter Gang, the Scoot Gang.
The Scoot Gang will be a distant memory. We'll be like, oh, was that in Mando season 1 or 2? It's like, no, that was in Boba Fett. That was when they were still fighting their barons. Trust me, I've rooted for enough bad baseball teams in my life. You gotta believe in something right now. I'm believing in fucking Mando and the dark saber. I forgot all about that. Would be fucking awesome. The little criminal, the criminal underground meeting or whatever you want to call it, the crime lord meeting. Guy, like, it had a little bit of Dark Knight vibes, right? Where it's like a meeting and
when the Joker comes, right?
And Grandpa Delabella would have loved that. He would have just loved that whole scene of the boys. Everyone's paying their respects to each other. I do not trust.
He would have brought the cookies. He would have brought like his wife's cooking or something. Yeah.
I do not trust one of those fucks at that table. Like,
no.
I was gonna do odds of which, exclusively on the Barstool Sportsbook app, which group of people was going to turn on Boba. It honestly may be all of them. That's, I think, he goes and shows
one
up
of the Trandoshans, by the way, was the one from episode 1. Remember the one where he was like, I used to work for that guy. That's awkward.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's more awkward for him. That's one of the people. And it was nice because we said that guy's probably going to come back. Boom. He came back. Boom.
The fucking Basin boys have been on point with the Boba Fett show.
On point this season. Pretty fucking good this season, from the Slave One, the Sarlacc, all this stuff.
Don't let us get hot, man. 2022 is the year of the basement. This is on record. So if I had to choose which group would be like the biggest betrayal or the most likely the biggest one, the pussy face guys, definitely.
Yeah, the Aqualish, I think they're called. Yeah.
I just don't like that. Also, I don't know if the Rancor just has incredible timing or if Trejo cattle prodded him, but him going right as they were getting into negotiations. I feel like
trained.
Yes, very well trained. He can speak the language and knows when to scare everyone. And the fact that it was on the grate made it a little extra cool too, knowing they could just hit a button and fucking pop everything off. That's Chekhov's Rancor though. Multiple people at that dinner table are going to probably end up the Rancor's dinner down the road. I think we can all agree on that.
I hope so. I hope Boba's riding it as they fucking eat him like Jaws or something. That would be amazing. We do have a couple questions from the listeners. Shout out to everyone that wrote in questions. The first of which goes off the ending of the episode. It's from Ryan Alderson. He says, "We finally got the Wookiee Trandoshan battle, or should I say, Santo beatdown I've been waiting for. On that note, now that Boba is looking to hire some help, do we get a Bosk reunion next episode? What about Mando or episode or members of the Bad Batch? Thanks, and may the Force be with you." So yeah, I don't think it'll just be Mando. It might just be Mando next episode, but by the end, I think there's a chance that Bosk gets called up. A former friend of his, Dengar, gets called up. The people that we've been talking about the whole time. The Bad Batch in live action would stun me, but Fennec Shan knows him, so I don't know. Like, they established a relationship between Fennec and them in the show. She kind of winds up on their good side, I think. I do think we're going to get more people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that would be the real thing that you would have a line for, is which bounty hunters are you going to see? And I think Mando was the clear favorite, minus 250 basically.
Cobb
Vanth is up there, and that again, for the people that don't know Cobb Vanth, and what's the other guy? Oliphant.
Yeah, Cobb Vanth.
No. I'm sorry, not Oliphant. The cowboy guy from Bad Batch.
Oh, Cad Bane.
Cad Bane. If we get him, he's on the docket. Obviously, there's a lot of ways it can go, but I think I hope at least 3 bounty hunters. I'm hoping at least 3 bounty hunters that are like, and again, they don't have to all be in the movies. They could be in kind of like the, not truly expanded universe. I'm putting the over under at 3. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm throwing a lot of Barstool Sportsbook terms around right now, but it's playoff season right now.
Troy McClure writes in and he says, "Do we really believe that the Nico speed bikers killed the Tuscans alone? Fennec, upon hearing it, seems highly skeptical. Possibly the Pikes or someone else involved." Yeah, I think it's going to be revealed that someone else had a hand in that, someone that Boba's going to need revenge over, and maybe at that point you rule with fear. That's the point that makes Boba snap a little bit. You killed my family, fuck you.
Yeah, like, oh, you should have heard that little bitch Tusken Raider boy when I killed him, or like there's gonna be someone trying to get Boba to snap.
Exactly.
Break his new rules that he just set up for himself there. I gotta say, I'm just happy Boba admitted that he's kind of a bitch this season. I'm hoping like we don't have to. I saw one of the questions like, well, how does Boba feel? Like, why does Boba have so much hoe in his blood? And I'm like, Boba knows he has hoe in his blood. He's fucking, he has hand up. Oh my! Someone actually, I have to shout out this guy, Big Tim. He tweeted us last night. He goes, "Is Boba Fett the Dwight Howard of Star Wars?" And I'm like, kind of feels like it. Like, he started hot, everyone liked him. He just had the look of just this absolute star, and he's kind of like slowly getting older and fading away a little bit. But I think we're getting a big time comeback. I don't think
he's going to make everyone eat their way. I think it's more like Tom Brady in that break before he got all those other Super Bowls. You
went with the Brady man. Jeez, Bob Fox, you're throwing the B word around
for this guy.
These parts?
Went with the Brady man. The final question. I loved this one. I think I know where we're both going to go based on our little dialogue previously, but Stephen Jones says, "Would you prefer to have a pet Bantha or a pet Rancor?" I think after this episode, I actually want a pet Bantha. It just looks like a giant dog.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I would have never, like, going into the episode, I wouldn't think there was a chance in a million years. But the Rancor is like a fun dog to have, and it's a lot of fun. It's also a lot of work, right?
It's not even like a dog breed. It's like owning a tiger. It's more like Siegfried and Roy. They were like, oh, we never thought that. Is it Siegfried and Roy? Siegfried and I call him Royd, like it was a steroid. But it's like owning a tiger. Honestly, it's like that thing is gonna rip your face off like Siegfried and Roy, and you're not gonna see it coming, and everyone around you is gonna say, "Yeah, we saw it coming."
Sigmund Freud and Sigmund and Roy. So I think that's kind of you lump those two together.
Sigmund Freud. Yeah, that's exactly what I did, didn't I?
Yeah. It kind of blew my mind just figuring that out on the fly. I'm with you though. And I think they were saying last night that Bantha was a female. Maybe females are like just chiller Banthas, but I fucking just like love that fucking Bantha, man. That thing was cool as shit. And that's just a loyal ass companion. Didn't even want to leave. You feel like he had to like shoot, like, get out of here, go at Bantha. Like that's the kind of fucking. I wish if I had a Bantha every single day, blogging life would be a lot more fun. Just fucking having like a little Bantha, got to feed you. We're going to talk some shit and we're just going to go from there. So that's a good one. Also,
I could picture you just like in your backyard, you hammered down a post, you tie a rope to it, and the Bantha, you just sit on top of it with your laptop all day, and the Bantha just walks in circles. And people are like, "Clem, you need a drink?" You're like, "No, I'm good, honey."
The kids are going to school today, honey. Don't worry, we don't need the rose. The Bantha's going to take them to school.
You're dropping the kids off on the Bantha. Oh,
it's awesome. Like Mr. Plow, a fucking modern day Mr. Plow. Also,
So it's awesome.
I didn't say this earlier, but I just have to say, just to put it out there. What's the name? Garth the Swift. How do you say it? Garth.
Garza Fwip.
She looked really good this episode,
She
and
did. I noticed that.
I was distracted. I was very
Yeah.
distracted. I don't know. I'm in my basement by myself. I'm in Star Wars land. There's usually not a lot of females. I was just like, holy shit, she looks tremendous. So I just had to say that.
Credit to Black Krrsantan for staying strong in that moment.
Exactly. We have some I like the way she plays her role. I like the way the mayor's assistant, even though he's an absolute fuckface, he's a butthead, as you put in the blog. They have very visually it's like I know who that person is immediately. When sometimes Star Wars you get lost in the sauce with all the different alien races and stuff like that. The people have been very identifiable, which as an old man, it's the little things in life, it's the little victories that I take. So that was a big W.
If you've made it to the end of this episode, we should give him a hashtag. I think we forgot last week. Hashtag Bantha love.
Hashtag I love Banthas. Hashtag Bantha
Hashtag
love.
Hashtag.
Do we go hashtag we are Boba Fett instead of I am Boba Fett? Hashtag
Oh, that's
we are
good.
Boba Fett,
Hashtag we
Groot.
are Boba Fett. I like that. It's a little Groot. It's a little crossover. Yeah, I like that.
And it's saying, listen, the first 4 episodes have been uneven. We've had a lot of flashback to moments. We've had some good moments too. Don't get me wrong.
A lot of good moments.
Bantha. We are Boba Fett. You are Boba Fett. You're going to go and you're going to annihilate motherfuckers. You're going to kill pretty much everyone at that table. You're going to kill fucking the Pikes, the fucking Triads, whoever the fuck is crossing you. You're killing them all. That's actually what I want to have people leave in the comments now of YouTube. Who do you think will be joining Boba as Muscle for the next episode? Make your predictions now. Put it on the message
Who's part
board.
of the team?
So it's, Mando is out there.
Cad Bane.
Bosk.
Dangar. Someone else from Mando season 2 out there. He met a couple other people. Some of the other bounty hunters, possibly. Bad Batch out there. Some of the other bounty hunters from Clone Wars that could still be alive at this point. I don't know how many are still even out there. Hondo, the pirate, who knows?
Throw some Marvel characters out there if you want to. You never know.
Throw some Mickey Mouse characters out there. Winnie the Pooh is public domain at this point. Throw him in there. Throw in the hashtags. Make sure you like the video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, make sure you leave us that little 5-star rating. That's a new thing on Spotify. If you're on iTunes, you haven't left us a rating, we would love for you to leave a rating. And make sure you subscribe. We're up to 11.2 thousand at this point. Pretty quickly rising after we hit 10,000 on Christmas Eve.
And again, that's, we have the contest still going, the clemreport@gmail.com. Don't forget to take a picture of the little subscription thing just so that I can enter you in the contest with that. That's how we're going to figure out who does what there. So make sure you do that. And this is it. This is when Boba Fett's going to come through big for us. I also got to shout out everyone who left the 5-star ratings the last few weeks here. Let's see. We got Holy Shnikes. Did I have Holy Shnikes last week? We have, all right, Alex Schwartz. Holy Shnikes, great name. I think we had that. KWP 1039, Nick Cannon, Guncho, DMT Intellectual, Wolfie 222, TJW 247, crazy ass DJ, bunch of letters, and Chan Q 1221, JTAR 88. All fucking just go read those. Yeah, you got to read these.
Sound like Star Wars names, yeah.
They are, and there's such nice things. And there's some questions in there that we'll bring up on a future pod as well. So shout out to you guys for helping us out grow the pod here.
All right, cool. We will see you guys next week for hopefully the return of the Mandalorian to the Star Wars universe.
Hashtag we are Boba Fett.